I remember going out in the field with my dad when he was farming, and he would meet up with a neighbor across the field's fence line, and they would stand there for hours talking, and they'd be speaking in German. But this is out very remote areas. They really didn't have these kinds of conversations in public. My mother and father didn't speak a lot of German to each other. It was maybe more words, single words, small phrases, maybe in exclamatory kind of statements. But no, they tried to speak English with us. So I did not grow up speaking German. It was maybe because of the world wars that because the ancestors that immigrated, they had to register as enemy aliens. There was a lot of persecution. They all had already endured a lot of persecution in the home country. They didn't want to also endure it here in the United States. So they kept that hidden because they just didn't know how. First of all, they were German and they were Catholic, and both of them were persecuted over the centuries. So they, even though they've fully embraced it privately, they did it publicly. And I don't know if it was a German tradition thing or a regional thing, but when come harvest time, they would, all the neighbors would come and help out. Everybody helped out each other. They had the threshing crews would come. All of the neighbors and relatives. We maybe had like 30 men, hanging out in our lawn for lunch, and then all the women, cooking the meal. Well, then the men would go back out in the fields and finish the harvest. But then they would go on to the next place, and everybody would help out the next person. For me now to determine if it was a German heritage or Catholic heritage, because they're very closely bonded together from that region, especially the holidays like Christmas. They not only did Santa Claus come, but we celebrated St. Nicholas Day. That was a big celebration in my community. We had a big festival and feast, even in the school, and we had the dark side of Santa Claus was Ruprecht, where they would come to all the homes, Santa Claus or St. Nicholas and Ruprecht. One would bring gifts, the other one would be carrying a shaft of twigs, and they would come and they would rap on the windows and then come into your home and speak to the family and either present the gifts or threaten with the with the bundle of twigs. So that was a very German thing to do, to have these two figures come around to the families. They just didn't have these types of conversations with us, and that's what I want to be able to do, not only learn about our past, but then be able to talk to you and your sister about our ancestry and us, and be very open about it, not hide information from you. I want you to have all of that information and history at your disposal. And because then what would happen with the next generation, every time a little bit would get lost every time, and then there's no memories or anything to carry forward to the next generation. So I guess that's what I would hope that you guys would be interested in hearing about this, learning about it, so that you can carry it forward then to your kids someday.